let's bring up Powder Dusty, because I know he has different views than me. Let's bring up, we only got Dane Snyder and Wicked Dreams. Anyone else that wants to join the stream, click the first link in the YouTube description. I'll bring you up. I'm going to bring more of my mods up more of my members up. You know, they get privilege and access here, but I do want to honor new people that want to come on. So if new people come up, I can go ahead and put Dane and Wicked backstage again. But for right now, since no other new people are up, I'm going to go ahead and bring up Dane. And Wicked, let me know if you want to come up on this one. But anyways, okay, cool. So Powder Dusty and Dane, you've been listening to the conversation backstage. Dane, you're a member. Anything you want to say first?
Man, look. I didn't know you was going to bring me up with Powder Dusty. If I'd have known that, I'd have put on clean underwear, man.
You don't got to do that for me. Mine are dirty, too.
I can tell that by looking at your damn. I do have a
complaint though for Section 8 Santa. This pack of cigarettes you brought me for Christmas already has some out of it. What's going on here?
I didn't buy you no pack of cigarettes, man. I'm gonna let you die of natural causes and pray for it to come quickly.
All right, fellas, let's get to the point. It's debate night. Let's get to the point. So Dane,
I like this guy, Dane, man.
We'll go with Dane first. Yeah, he definitely do, man. He like me. Dane, we'll go with you first. Ask your question to anyone on the panel, and then Powder Dusty, you're next.
Real quickly though, I think that Sage Attacks guy would be somebody great if he could come backstage, man, to bring back up. I was pretty impressed with his integrity, even though he did shift the goalpost a little bit.
Yeah, he's not. He's not backstage anymore. He just got off when me and Smoke Pole was going back and forth. So Sage, if you want to come back on up, man, you're welcome to come back on up.
Yeah, but really, I was just kind of backstage because you told me I was backstage. I was chatting back and forth in the chat with Sage Attacks. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. But, so no questions?
Maybe P. Dusty over there could fire off some questions. I could respond to him. You know.
Okay. Yeah. Powder Dusty, what you want to engage in this topic? Stay right here about morality not being Christian morality not being objective, or atheist morality being objective. You want to engage in this, or you want to start another topic?
This topic is good.
Okay, fair enough. Go ahead. Ask a question.
So when I started listening, I heard the two of you talking about Christian morality as an external morality system, as if that's a good thing, as if that's actually a real thing. And I don't believe it is, but we can get into that later. But why? What would you say the reason is why having an outsourcing your moral system is preferable to choosing it for yourself?
Okay. I'll explain very simple, right? So if it's the case that we all have subjective morality, we determine what's morally good and what's morally bad. And it's subjective to us. If morals is subjective to you, Powder Dusty, morals is subjective to Dane Snyder, and morals is subjective to Smoke Pole TV and myself as well. It's all subjective. How do we make a justification for what is truly right? Like, who moral claim is more valid? It wouldn't be. Like, all of our moral claims would be equal. You would say yes to that, right?
I agree with that.
That's a great question you're asking him as well, because you have to ask yourself the same thing about your religious moral compass. Who is setting that compass?
Yep. Well, and we will though. Instead of doing the what about, real quick. Instead of doing the what aboutism, because that's an easy answer for me, right? Let's just go ahead and answer that, right? So if morality is subjective between the four of us, if you say grape is bad, I say grape is good, he says grape is bad, how do we determine who is valid?
Well, I think that the part of the nature of being human is that none of us are God. And I think that referencing God and claiming to know God's will or God's morals and say that this is why I'm right.
So then what would be the effects of that? What would be the effects? The effects of it would be arguments. The effects of it would be fights. It would come real quick. It would come down to who can enforce their will on other people. So if I'm stronger, if I'm better at shooting guns, you say that it's bad, you say that it's bad, and you say that it's bad, but I say that it's good. Well, guess what? I'll threaten all of you, and all of you guys would have to follow my moral standard or you would die. So it's going to come down to might makes right This is why we do not appeal to self. We appeal to the things that is outside of self. So might doesn't make right.
You just explained why you're a Christian.
You just explained morality. You just explained how the
You
world
are
works.
they just didn't get anything.
And I'm not
They
saying
just
I'm
didn't get it.
just saying that you just explained why Christianity has taken over our society. I'm serious. You just explained it.
So if you mean that, so one part, yeah, if Christianity, they follow one moral standard. If everyone is following, think about this. If everyone follows one moral standard, then even if people choose not to follow that moral standard, we can put consequences on it. You get what I'm saying? There's still if it's objectively good and things are objectively bad, we can put consequences on the things that are good and the things that are bad, and it would never change. Abortion is legal. I think it came legal in the 1960s. Why did it change? It wasn't legal prior to that. It was illegal. But it changed because people, they go with, it's subjective. Let's go by vote, right? Let's vote on this. What the freak is that?
If I could get in here.
Go ahead, Dane.
If I could get in here. Okay, for P. Dusty and Smoke Pole, because be honest with you, I've been going back and forth in the chat with a few people, so I may have missed some gaps here. Plus, I'm old, I'm redneck, and I'm slow. So maybe y'all could tell me what it is, what measurement, what standard y'all use to establish what is good or ethical in your worldview. I'm sorry, what was that?
I said amazing. Hey,
amazing.
Are you asking me or are you asking Powder Dusty?
It'll be both of you. Let's start with Smoke Pole TV first, and then we go with Powder Dusty.
First, can Dane answer my question though? He responded to my question with the same question back.
Okay.
So why is having an external moral compass better?
Because it keeps people from being crazy and doing crazy things to other people and saying, well, this is right because I think it is. Jeffrey Dahmer thought it was moral and ethical to kidnap other men, kill them, cook them, and eat them in his own mind.
Okay, he hit it. He knew it was wrong.
When I say Christianity has changed, was there not a time when they were burning people from the stakes thinking they were witches? Was there not a time
they were disobeying God? Yeah, there was consequences. God flooded the earth because of that.
So wait, because then we also have Sharia law. You have a whole bunch of other people that believe in a totally different. So my point being,
man, you moving the goalpost to a whole nother religion now.
Smoke pole.
Not moving the goalpost.
Yeah, you
Smoke pole. Smoke pole.
We're not Muslims.
Have you ever been in a library? I'm sure you have.
Okay.
Okay, back in my day, now I'm over half a century old, man. I'm old, fat, and wore out. But back in my day, you had to go to a little cabinet, had little drawers in it, and had to look through little cards and look up
the card catalog.
Now they got, you're right. So you know what I'm talking about. Now they got computers. All right. Now imagine you walk into a library, you want to look up a book, get some information out of, and all the bookshelves are gone and the books are piled up in the middle of the library. That don't make, man, that ain't gonna work. Okay. So chill out a minute, brother. Let's back down a little bit. Let's go like one book at a time. So like Powder Dusty, OP Dusty over here.
Of substance, because chill out isn't enough.
Do what now?
I said, please tell me something of substance because chill out is not enough.
Okay, what I'm telling you of substance is you might want to have some decorum and go along with everybody else having a discussion. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of nonsense. Now, P. Dusty over here, which I keep calling him P. Dusty, and I don't think he realizes I'm making an allusion to P. Diddy to make fun of him because he don't seem sufficiently offended. But P. Dusty over here was in the middle of responding to a question when you started spurging out, man. So just, that's all I'm saying. Just calm down. Let's get with the kind of organized
That's
here. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of barking.
At a Section 8 Santa. Let's go.
Kids.
What was that, P. Dusty?
That's enough tone policing. We get it.
Right.
Yeah, let's not have the meta conversation. Let's just have the conversation, fellas. Go ahead.
What were you saying, Dusty?
Something of substance.
What I was asking you. Well, earlier I asked you why you think external is better. Now, my follow-up to that would be the decision to outsource your moral decision making is a personal subjective one. So no matter how you slice it, if we're being honest, you can't actually get away from the fact that all moral decisions are personal decisions, because with morality, we're talking about what's right and wrong, and it's applicable to our behavior and our actions, which we're always responsible for.
So you posing that to me or Cooley?
Well, I was talking to you, but
Okay, let's go. Okay, from my perspective, because me personally, and I can't speak for other Christians, but for me personally, God, the Godhead, is an actual entity that exists just like my desk in front of me exists. It's not a good idea. I've heard other Christians before try to make the argument, well, if you live by the Bible and the Bible's a lie, well, you've lived a good life. But if the Bible's true, you get to go to heaven. Well, those people don't really believe that God exists. They're just stacking their bets with the best possible option. That's not my self-actualization in my head of my reality. In my reality, God actually exists. It's actually an entity that exists outside of the known universe. He's external to that. He's outside of nature. Now, if that is the case, and I root and ground my moral and ethical system in what the only revelation I know of him that is true, and I say, well, this is right or wrong or ethical, unethical, fair, unfair, not because Dane likes it, but because thus saith the Lord, that would be outside of my mind, which would make it an objective stance. Now, you may not believe that God exists. You may believe he's a figment of my imagination. So for you could make the argument, say, well, that's a subjective position. But from my perspective, it's subjective, because I'm not basing my morals and ethics on what I think. I'm not basing my morals and ethics on what I think. I'm basing my morals and objectives based on the Christian ethical standard, the moral code, which is outside of my own head.
Yeah, but you chose that. And you acknowledge that. You chose.
I didn't choose that. Did you choose yours?
My ethical standard, yeah.
Yeah, so you just chose it. So it's your preferences.
Right. And Christianity is your
preference. If your preferences that you chose, if you woke up in the morning and your preferences changed, then your whole worldview and ethical system could change.
And yes, and if you wake up tomorrow, Muslim,
no, sir, that's not going to happen.
Let me finish my.
That's not going to happen. If I believe, hold up. You're denying the fact.
Dane, let him land his plane after this too.
Okay, you're denying the fact that I truly believe, just like my desk in front of me is real, that God is real.
Not ignoring that.
I'm not going to wake up in the morning and all of a sudden decide that God is unreal.
I'm not ignoring.
Okay,
that.
Dusty, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not ignoring that. What I'm pointing out is that you believe, you said it yourself, you believe you kept using these qualifiers. It is your perspective and your decision. You could wake up tomorrow and
say decision. Did not say decision.
I know you did. I'm saying decision. It's your decision what you believe. You chose Christianity. That's what you believe right now.
I didn't choose Christianity.
Bro, you are out of control. Get your shit together, man. You chose your religion.
I didn't choose it. Stop straw manning my position. I didn't choose it.
Let him fully land his plane. Dane, real quick. Look. We'll do this. Dane, let him fully land his plane. Powder Dusty, you can fully land your plane, and then Dane, just remember it and refute it afterwards if you need to.
All right.
10-4 there, rubber duck.
Dane, the reason that you're interrupting me and getting red and mad is because you know that you choose your religion. That's what free will is all about. Christianity loses meaning without free will. If you didn't have that choice, then everything in Christianity wouldn't matter. It's crucial to your religion. So, like I was saying, you've chosen this religious system. Just like if you could change your mind, you could renounce God, you could choose Satan tomorrow, you could choose Muhammad tomorrow, whatever you want. My point is that decision to choose an external moral source is still an internal, personal, subjective one. I land.
I didn't choose anything. I need you to explain to me how I chose something. Did you choose that microphone in front of you exist? Did you choose that? No, I didn't choose anything. What I did was I wanted to know what was true. And just like you want to know what is true and you arrived at a false conclusion, I sought out what was true, that was defensible, that I could defend, that was logical, that arrived me at my position. So when you say that I chose, when you say I chose something, that's simply not true. That's taking your understanding, and you're applying it to my worldview. I could likewise say that you just chose to be a degenerate, anti-Christian atheist who just wanted to live life how you want to live. But I don't know that to be true. So I did not choose anything. So the rest of your whole little diatribe there falls apart. I didn't choose anything.
When you said you searched out for truth, right? When you just, as far as what you just said, you said you searched out for truth. Did you choose to search?
Did I choose what?
To search.
Of course not.
So you just woke up sleepwalking one day and found a Bible at night, and it just popped in your hand, and the information just started absorbing.
It has nothing to do with the Bible popping in my hand. It has nothing to do with it. You asked me a question. Let me answer it. Let me answer it. Let me answer it. See, now you're trying to prescribe your own mythological imagination of how I arrived at where I'm at. Didn't no Bible pop in my hand?
You said you searched for whatever you were looking for.
Right. I was looking. I wanted to know. Excuse me. Can I finish? Can I answer your question?
Sure.
I wanted to know what was true. So I went to search out what was true, and that search led me to where I am today. That doesn't mean that I chose. That does not mean that I chose. Please stop spurging like a woman. That does not mean that I chose to be. That does not mean to be. I haven't insulted anyone. I haven't insulted anyone.
Fellas. One mic at a time. Smoke TV. You gonna speak right after Dane? Go ahead and land your plane. And then Smoke TV, the floor is yours.
Okay. While I'm in this 1v2 debate back and forth between these two hellbound sinners here, I did not choose anything. What I did was I went to look for what was true, and that brought me to where I am. Now what P. Dusty over here claimed was that I chose to be a Christian. I didn't choose to be a Christian. I could have been a Buddhist, a Hindu, an atheist. I could have been hellbound sinners like the two of y'all. But I arrived at the truth, which was Christ.
Christianity. It just so happens to be what Dane is saying. It just so happens to be is he was searching, but he's searching for truth. He didn't choose it. It just happens to be that Christianity was true. The other ones was lies.
Y'all can't impose y'all's imagination on my life story.
And is that statement you just made subjective or objective?
Which one? I made a lot of statements.
No, when you say it's truth, what you chose is true, and whatever other people chose that didn't choose what you chose is lies. Because I don't know a measurement that you can dictate that. And if we did have a measurement, we wouldn't be in so many world wars right now. So stop.
Sure we would.
We'll still be in world wars is because people have the ability to they have free will, right? So since human beings have free will, they're going to choose to disobey.
You chose.
But listen.
Right.
I think that most people. I think that in human nature, I don't think that we have a natural propensity to move towards things that are untrue. We always are on a discovery and moving for truth. Naturally, we're doing it without even knowing. So what Dane is explaining here is he's basically explaining it's not really a choice. This is something that's embedded in all of us, and this just so happens to be that during this discovery, the thing that was true was Christianity. I'm not trying to make his argument for him, but I think that you guys are just maybe misunderstanding it.
No, let me ask Smoke Pole this. I can ask both of y'all this. Do y'all know what a Geiger counter is?
Wasn't that the Earth? Remind me.
A Geiger counter is a tool that people use when they're dealing with radioactivity. Mm-hmm. It's a little box with a little wand, and they walk around, and it makes a little clicking noise when they get around radiation. And the more concentrated the radiation is, the faster it clicks and everything.
An EMF meter. I've got one, actually.
Okay, whatever. It's a Geiger counter in my world, but you can make up whatever word you want. So, okay, now that Geiger counter, prior to its invention, a woman named Madame Curie, who was like a pioneer in X-ray technology, she carried around radioactivity test tubes in her pocket and kept them in her desk drawer, and she died of radiation poisoning. Okay. So that radiation existed before the Geiger counter.
Look.
Okay, we would get sunburned. We would get sunburned from being in the sun because of the radiation. So those things existed. Hang on. Now, does the fact that radiation exists and we discovered the radiation and we have the Geiger counter and instruments to detect it, does that mean that we chose to believe in radiation?
Yeah,
no.
You're
It means that our search for truth brought us to the point to where we discovered that radiation existed.
You are not addressing what I'm actually talking about. I'm not arguing whether or not Christianity is true. It may be true. It may not be true.
Not
what
either.
I'm saying is that you're just like I'm not a Christian, and your decision to
Dane, let him land his
believe in
plane,
Christianity is a subjective one. That's the subjective part. You're making that decision.
How is it subjective?
Because where's the meter?
Do you have the right to deny it?
You asked. Let me answer that, please, Powder, because
I can't respond to both of y'all at one time.
No, please, because it's a simple answer, and it's something that, and I want to use what you asked that guy Sage. Where's the meter to count what you're talking about? Where's the measurement? Where's the measurement? What you're like? Because I'll tell you what.
Can I answer you? Are you here to give a speech? You here to gish gallop in the speech? Can I answer you? It's a simple answer. Are you here to gish gallop? You just here to perform? Or you want me to answer the question?
No, I want you to let me finish.
Smoke. Oh yeah, Dane, let him finish.
Nothing about you like exemplifies God or God.
I don't care what you think about me.
When you say that God and you found this truth, what did it do for your life? What measurement? It's not your weight. It's not your finances. It's nothing. What are you talking about?
How old were you when your mama ran your daddy off and then turned you against your daddy?
Answer the question. Where does God?
I'm answering the question.
That you are looking
I'm
at,
answering the question. If you'll shut up a minute.
Okay, fellas, one mic at a time. Dane, real quick. Dane, because your audio. I got you, Smokepole TV.
God, this man found God.
Smokepole, real quick. Let's just create some quick decorum, Smokepole. No, I got you. I'm gonna have you repeat the entire question. Real quick, listen. Dane's audio is overpowering yours for sure. So I got you because I couldn't really hear you. So I know the audience can hear you. So Dane, don't say anything. Let him just get his full question out and then answer it. Go ahead, Smoke TV.
Where's the measurement? And it's simple. If you found God, just like you asked Sage, where's the measurement? Because it's not in your weight. I look in your background. Your couches look dirty and dusty and old and holes in them. You look broke. Like, where in the world is there some sort of measurement, an inch like you asked Sage, a dollar sign like you asked Sage? Where in your representation of your being fat and looking greasy like you haven't showered in a week does it exemplify God? Because I don't see it. I don't see something objective or even subjective. Show me a measurement that says you found God and Powder Dusty didn't, or P. Diddy, or whatever you want to call him. Because look, you look like an embarrassment. And if what finding God is represented in you, then I'd rather be like P. Dusty, because P. Dusty looks like he's in halfway decent shape. He looks healthy. His background looks like he's doing well. Where's God in you in this measurable shit that you ask Sage to present?
If we're being honest, Diddy looks healthy and Diddy is rich and Diddy got a big old mansion and Diddy life is pretty good. Would you would you want to be like Diddy? Would you want to be like Diddy? So by using your logic, if you're appealing to material, if you're appealing to the material world and physical things to justify God and God being in someone and things like that, that's nonsensical. Because therefore that means that you would choose to be just like Diddy.
Why would you ask Sage that then?
Why don't you follow Diddy?
He's right and Sage is wrong.
No, I'm using Smokepole TV. I just use your logic against you, right? Here's your logic. I'm gonna repeat it back to you. Your logic is very simple. When I look at you, Dane, I don't see any God there. You talked about his background. You talked about him. There's no God there. Listen. There's no God there. If you look at Diddy in a big old, stop it. If you look at Diddy in his when he was in his big old mansion, everything was good. Everything was good. Would you see God there?
You missed. I wasn't talking about no P. Diddy.
No. Stop it. It's using your logic.
Powder, did you understand what I was saying?
I understand both of you. He's using your logic he's not saying I'm Diddy. Yeah,
I'm not saying him. I'm not saying he's Diddy. I'm using your logical argument against you to show you, to demonstrate how nonsensical and stupid it is. Basically, so people are in poor countries. Is God not there because they're in poverty?
This is so like basic. Let me just basically explain what I'm saying. If he asked Sage to show him a measurable piece of something, whether it's an inch, and this is his words. I haven't said anything personal yet. He said to Sage, who I don't agree with, but I'm just using your guys' logic against you.
No, you're using it bad, actually. You're not using it right.
Then we're playing.
Okay, go ahead.
He says to Sage, give me an inch, a measurement, something to show that you're right and I'm wrong.
When we're speaking about objective, stop it. You're using it. Smoke pole.
Let me finish. I'm asking
go ahead.
him
Land your plane.
In the same way that he asked Sage, show me a measurement from him, whether it's his weight.
I refute it in 2 seconds.
Whether it's the red glow on his face that looks like he hasn't showered.
Let me refute it in 2 seconds, Smoke Pole. Let me refute it in 2 seconds. You're conflating two different arguments. When he was speaking to Sage, they were having a conversation about objective and subjective morality. Basically, he needed to see objectively mind independent, not something dependent on a mind, right? That's what I'm saying.
Measurement.
So no, stop it. That's something totally different than what you're speaking about right now. You're saying that you need to the only way that you can, the evidence for God is, well, how people live, how your weight is, how that is. That's a measurement of God. But listen, that's why I refuted your argument and I said Diddy. When you look at Diddy, when you look at Diddy, he's rich, he's wealthy, he's in shape, he got a fresh cut, he do the Diddy bop.
He's broken in prison. It's not.
I'm saying when he was rich, when he was rich, when you look at Diddy, when he prior to the imprisonment, you didn't know that he was a sexual deviant. You didn't know that he had devils in the closet. But if you just looked at him, you would think that he's a man of God based off of your logic.
Let me try to get it back on track, because there's a good question there that got lost underneath the ad homs. Dane, how do you know? What measurement are you using to assess truth or reality? Not that that was really what I was questioning, but you insisted it. So how are you measuring that?
Thank you for simplifying.
Well, I'm not sure that he could simplify it much farther than your simple mind stated it. But let's say that I am just a fat, redneck, uneducated, ain't showered in 3 years. I got mushrooms growing on my asshole. What is it about what I've said that is not true that you can prove, you can falsify is not true?
We're asking you, what measurement are you proving that?
I get what you asking me. I haven't asked you for a measurement.
Your mushrooms on your ass. Excuse
me. I let you go on like a woman for about 10 minutes while you showed your ovaries. Okay. Now, do I get to respond, or you just gonna be like,
go ahead, Dane?
Women,
forget the meta conversation, Dane. Just respond. You got it.
Okay, thank you. Now, Sage Attacks over there. I asked him how he developed what was right or wrong, and he said it had to do with the amount, which is a measurement. Now, I understand this is beyond your intellectual ability, but the amount implies a measurement of suffering. So I asked him, how does he measure the suffering? He couldn't come up with a unit of measure.
Nor can you.
I'm not asking for a measurement. That's something you've co-opted from him. I haven't claimed there's a measurement here. Can you tell me the 3 laws of logic, Smoke Pole?
No, what I can tell you is that you have.
Can you tell me the 3 laws of logic, or are you just a dumb woman with a penis? You're just a dumb woman with a penis. Can you tell me? I'm dealing in logic, so we need to speak the same language, pole smoker.
We don't.
Can you tell me the 3 laws of logic?
Because you wouldn't talk to me like that.
Can you tell me the 3 laws of logic?
I Dane, that's your question. Smoke Pole, you want to answer or not?
3 laws of logic. I have no idea what he's talking about, nor do I.
Because you're dumb.
Okay,
I can tell you, it doesn't matter. I still agree with him. Like,
did you agree with the dummy, P. Dusty? You're dumb. Yeah. You don't understand what I'm talking, because I'm talking about logic.
So you're saying it's a binary.
You're talking about your ovaries. You're talking about your little clitoris. It's all warmed up and warm and fuzzy and moist.
All right. Listen. Let's chill out with the ad hominems. Everybody on the panel. Let's chill out with the ad hominems.
He understands.
Let's get to the Dane. Let's actually have good, coherent argument back and forth, and let's have some decorum. Enough of the, ad hominems. Let's actually destroy their arguments. So they're pushing. They got questions. Let's just destroy it.
I was speaking the language he understands.
All right, fair enough, Dane. Go ahead, Smoke. Pole TV, what you say?
What I asked him as far as the personal attacks is because there has to be a measurement, whether we're talking about pain or we're talking about success. Whatever we're talking about, if we're talking about subjective versus objective, then there has to be a measurement. If we're going to
there doesn't.
Let me finish, Dane. And I'm not trying to argue with you. My point being is that if you're going to tell him he's wrong, then you have to use the same standard to prove that you're right. So what I'm asking what I'm saying to you is that you as this Christian and this and even Cooley.
He was doing an internal critique, man. So like you're straw man in it. Since he's doing an internal critique, he's asking him things based off of his worldview to prove. Our worldview is just different, man. It's not going to be the same metrics.
He doesn't get it. He doesn't understand.
You're just not understanding that part.
You guys believe and you have chosen to believe is that your worldview is right. Which
okay, let me demonstrate it to you. Let me just demonstrate it to you.
I'll digress again.
Oh, let me demonstrate it to you real quick. You are in the business of you're a chef. That's what you do. Hypothetically, you're a chef. I'm in the business. I mow lawns for a living, right? The things that I'm speaking about to mow the lawn. Listen, I need the measurements of of the grass. How big is your yard? Okay, that's good. The measurements that you're going to be asking for. Well, how big is the people that's going to be coming? Because I need to know how many plates I need to make, right? So there's different measurements and things within the worldview. So under his worldview, he's Powder Dusty, you're atheist, right?
Agnostic.
Okay. Yeah, you're atheist. So I mean, like, it's different measurements under that worldview when we're speaking about objective morality, subjective morality, and things like that. We're going to ask different questions because the worldview is different. Like, he's going to ask different questions to me. Like, why would I ask you under your worldview if you are an atheist? Well, do you believe in a Trinity? What? They don't. Well, what?
But we're talking about objective morality. So the fact that we even have different perspectives proves it's subjective.
100%. No. So we all have different perceptions of life.
Here, bro. Like, I'm so glad we have somebody that has because I'm a little emotional. So I sometimes add some extra shit. I see Powder, you kind of put it straight. You kind of take off.
You a little emotional. You're like a damn woman.
No, man. Listen, he didn't say anything good. Listen, stop, man. Enough of that homonyms. Smoke pole. What he said was it didn't demonstrate anything and it didn't negate any of the points, right? He just asked the question.
You can't prove your facts.
No, he's saying that since I believe this and you don't agree with me, then it's subject. No, stop it. Listen.
Believe.
If I have a different, listen. If we have different opinions, I'll demonstrate it to you. We can all have different opinions about something. Does that negate the fact that there is still something objective out? If a tree is in a forest, but you're not around, is the tree still there?
Absolutely.
Okay, which means that we can all have things are objective without us being there.
But we're talking about
we can have different opinions and our own. Listen. We can have different opinions about things. This doesn't mean. Listen, this doesn't mean that 1 + 1 does not equal. If we all believe that 1 + 1 equals everything but 2, this still doesn't negate the fact that 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2. It's still going to equal 2, even if we got our math wrong.
Hold on.
Show me 1 + 1.
But we're talking about with morality. We're talking about good and bad, which is subjective, which is a subjective measure, thing, anyways.
Under your worldview is subjective.
Well, you're claiming that it's objective. However, the fact that we're
worldviews,
let me do it. Smoke pole. The fact that we're here,
that doesn't negate the. I just demonstrated it. Listen, bro.
You just said something.
We can okay. If it's a tree in a forest, if there's a tree in a forest, is that objectively true? With you not seeing the tree, is that objectively true?
There's a tree in the forest.
No, stop it. No. There is a tree in the forest, but you're not there. You're not able. Listen, you're not able to know.
So then we don't.
My
know
point
there's
is
they are
there a
different
tree
things.
in the forest?
If
We're
not
talking
able to
about
know, that
we're
makes it
talking about a
automatically
subjective.
Okay.
Bro,
If you
smoke pole,
can't,
chill,
real quick,
let me do it.
I'll word it this way, real quick. If you can't observe the tree, you
Can you
can't
observe
see the
good?
tree, you can't hear the tree. By using your five senses, you can't see, touch, taste, smell, or hear this tree. You can't do any of that stuff. But are trees? If you can't see it, would the tree in a forest still exist? Would that
but
be
that's not-
objectively
that's-
true?
That would be objectively true, but that's not a good comparison because
That is the perfect
No, it's
analogy
not.
to all
Let
of
me
this.
explain why. Let me explain why. We're
Objective
talking
is
about-
not objective means mind independent, not
talking
mind
about
dependent. It doesn't depend on
good
our
and
mind
bad.
for the tree to be real. It doesn't depend on our mind for the tree to be real.
Now you're going to crash out
It's
because you don't.
objective.
Now you're going to crash out because you don't want to hear my response.
No, Dusty, I'm not crashing out. You know I talk spirited. Go ahead, Dusty.
It's not a good
They always
comparison.
say we crash out when we
I
win.
know, right?
They always say we crash out.
You do for sure.
We got to entertain, man.
So
Go ahead,
Your
Dusty.
mama,
Go ahead.
your mama.
the reason it's not a good comparison is because we're talking about good and bad, which is not an independent, tangible thing. It's
We're speaking about
characteristic of a thing.
objective. We're speaking about morality, the good and the bad. That's objective. I gave an example of something being objective that's not dependent on the mind, that is independent of a mind, which is a tree.
Okay.
Right?
Can you give an example of good and bad existing independent of a mind?
Yes.
What?
Are you ready?
Yep.
That was a good question.
For good and bad existing, not dependent on a mind.
Independent of a mind.
Independent of
I won't
mind.
answer that.
Okay. I'll go ahead and answer it. I already
Only
answered
one.
it before. I think I answered it with Sage, but I'll go ahead and answer it. So, are there things like the law? Dusty, you know the laws of logic, the three laws of logic.
Yes.
You think that we need to adhere to laws of logic to even make sentences. You believe that logic is real. Did we discover logic, or has logic always been there?
I think that we defined it. I think the laws of logic recognize that when we define it's basically we define it. It was defined by humans.
If we weren't here,
Develops as we understand
if
reality.
we weren't here, would the laws of logic still be there?
No,
No.
because logic is based on a perception of the mind.
But
Like,
real quick,
reality
listen. You
exists
don't
regardless
smoke
of what
pole.
is
You don't
logic.
even know what the three laws of logic is. Hold on, let me just have this conversation
Amen,
with
brother
Powder Dusty.
Cooley. Amen, brother Cooley. That
'Cause
dude
he
don't
knows
even know
what
what
the three
logic
laws-
is.
He knows what the three laws of logic is,
read
man.
Are the three laws of logic. I guess I'm unqualified to be logical.
Absolutely,
no,
absolutely. But you can learn. You can learn if you know your role. Shut your damn mouth and have a seat. Me and Cooley are teachers,
Calm down,
ma'am.
Hey, loosen
I
up
got
the
you.
little
Smoke
panty
Pole
drawers you got
TV.
on, bro, because you wouldn't. I'm not even gonna talk.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
sound
For,
silly,
yo,
bro.
Dane, chill out with the ad hominems, man. We got to chill out with it. Let's have the discussion.
I'm sorry. I'm just speaking his language. My bad.
Here's the three laws of logic.
After this is done, you go to my page and then you figure out what language I speak. Well done.
All right,
Cooley
smoke pole.
talking. Shut your mouth, man. Cooley talking.
Smoke pole. Dane, chill, man. Chill. You got to chill, Dane, man. Or I got to put you backstage. Even though you a member, still got to put you backstage. We got to have some decorum. We got to get these arguments out. So here's what I'm saying. I'll give you the three laws of logic. It's the law of identity, the law of excluded middle, and the law of non-contradiction. Those are the three traditional laws of logic, right? So, Powder Dusty, you asked me a question. Well, how can you prove that morality is objective? That's your question, right?
It was give me an example of something that is good and independent of mind. I believe.
Basically it's you want me to prove something that is independent of a mind, but you need evidence.
Yeah.
Okay, you need evidence. Okay, so
Well, no, I mean, like for example, a tree. We understand that that's a tangible thing that exists, whether or not we are aware of it, right?
yes.
But good doesn't have the same qualities as a tree does, so it doesn't work.
Yeah, I got you. So basically, you're looking for evidence of basically God and to show that morality is objective. That's what you want, right? So basically, have you ever heard of the transcendental categories? These is things that is categories within metaphysics. So the three laws of logic, the self, things like that. Things that we have no evidence for. There's no evidence of logic. You can't point to it. You can't touch it. You can't see it. You can't smell it. But we utilize it every day in order for us to make sentences, in order for us to walk in a straight line.
Right.
So these are all metaphysical categories that we appeal to, but we have no evidence for. So I'm asking you a question. Is the laws of logic and the self, right? Or what the self means, right? Is that true? Like, is the laws of logic a universal, or is it dependent on our mind?
The laws of logic are dependent. It's how we have observed reality. So it is mind dependent. We develop, for instance, let me look at the law of identity, right? Identity of anyone or anything depends on how we define it. For instance, I'm me, but we're all people, right? You can use, so that we would fit into both identities, but only I would fit into one of them. So again,
is it objective or subjective?
it's situational. So I would, it's situational. Whether if again, with the law of identity, use it as an example. If I identify all of us as people, then yes, we're all in that category. However, if I change
with the law of identity, a simple example is I'm David, therefore Powder Dusty can never be David.
Correct. But if we change the identity to you're a person, then all of a sudden we have the same identity within that definition. So the laws of logic are defined. It's structure that we've applied to reality.
No, that's just using it. It's unchanging. It's unchanging. You're just moving. No, you didn't change it at all. The law itself did not change. You just used it to fit a different sentence, but it did not change. The same order. Real quick, this you actually demonstrated the same. Are we people? Since I'm a person, therefore I can not. This animal, right? Cannot. I'm a human being. Therefore, this animal cannot be a human being. Because it is an animal. I'm David, therefore Powder Dusty can never be David. You get what I'm saying? Right. So therefore you're just moving the category, but you're still using the same law of identity to explain the logic there. So here's my question real quick. Smokepole TV. Let me just Smokepole TV. Me and Dusty having a conversation. My bad, real quick. I'm just gonna land my plane. So you are basically asking me to demonstrate, to prove with evidence that morality is objective or that there is a God.
Or even just give me an example.
So no, listen. This is the example. This is actually the argument, right? The argument is very simple. You believe and you appeal every day to transcendental categories, things that are metaphysical, things that you cannot see, touch, taste, smell, or hear, things that you have no evidence for, but you still utilize it and you still believe in it, and it is. So what are you speaking about, Powder Dusty? Which means that, okay, this is more than just concepts, right? Which means that when it comes to things that are objective, it's not mind dependent. So when we're speaking about God, right now, I'm going to map it for you. When we're speaking about God and we're looking at like logic and reason, logic itself has to appeal to a type of universal logic for it to be coherent and consistent. And all of that requires like an omniscient divine mind, right? How would we know that logic and reason, how could we even use logic and reason if it wasn't another mind, which is a mind that is divine, a mind that is omniscient, a mind that is eternal, a mind that never changes? Then this means that the laws of logic would change. But you just demonstrated and you showed how the laws of logic don't change. You brought up one scenario and brought up another one, and I proved to you how the laws of the logic didn't change. The category changed with you using the laws of logic, which makes it universal. So it has to be a mind for this to. It has to be a mind outside of ours for this to be universal. That's the claim.
Oh, cool.
It's very simple. So you are already appealing to something with no evidence, but you utilize the evidence right now by using sentences.
Bring the
So
goalpost
this
back.
thing is universal, basically. That's the. I think I did it pretty good. That's the transcendental category argument of proving God's existence. Shout outs to Jay Dyer.
Yeah. So I used the laws of logic to demonstrate that the laws of logic were a man-made application. I wasn't trying to refute the laws of logic. First of all, second
It isn't
of
a
all,
man-made application, though. You
it
just
is a
proved
man-made.
that.
It's a man-made application.
Demonstrate it.
Does 3 exist independent of us?
You
No,
talking about that? Are you?
no. If I can respond to that, no. Now I know you bunch of atheist, non-believer, hellbound sinners appeal to 1 + 1 = 2. Numbers are absolutely a construct of the mind. I want you to objectively prove to me that the number 3 exists outside of your own mind and the social construct.
Christ coming all off.
Hold on.
Bro. You
Excuse me, Smoke Pole. Shut up, please. Grown men
Yo,
are talking.
You're such a
Know your
reflection,
role
bro.
and shut your
You
mouth,
make me-
Smoke
you
Pole.
make me-
Grown
Hey,
folks
yo,
are
y'all
talking.
got beef,
Grown
man.
folks
Listen,
are talking,
real
Smoke
quick.
You make me
Pole.
want to be a better
Go
Yo.
back over there, scratch your
God bless
clitoris,
you.
and let grown men talk.
God
Don't
bless
scratch
you.
clitoris.
Y'all got
Powder
mad
dusty.
smoke. Real quick.
God
Smoke
bless
Pole,
you,
you
bro.
up
And-
next.
and-
Right
and
after
your
Dane.
mushrooms on
Right
your
after
asshole.
Dane answer the Smoke Pole, you up
And
next.
your
So go ahead,
asshole
Dane.
mushrooms.
First of all,
God bless you.
Dane, please
Dane,
do not
well,
scratch
let-
clitorises.
Let Dane answer the question. Go ahead,
For real.
Dane.
All right. P. Dusty, my feminized friend P. Dusty, that I have a lot of respect for as far as ladies go. I need you to explain to me, demonstrate for me objectively that the number 3 exists outside of your mind and outside of a. Shut up,
Smoke Pole.
Smoke
Just let
Pole.
him land the plane.
Smoke Pole. Behave, son.
All right, Dane, go ahead. Get to it, man.
Golly. Powder Dusty.
Mhm.
My relatively reasonable friend.
Right.
Okay, he spends too much time in the gym. Explain to me objectively how the number 3 exists outside of your mind and the social construct of minds that agree that that symbol of black marks on white paper that we agree is 3, that is equal to a value, a certain amount. Explain to me how that exists outside of our minds.
Thank you. I don't actually believe it exists outside of our minds. That's why I use that question. It's a great example because just like 3 doesn't exist outside of our minds, the good and bad distinction is inside of our minds.
Wait,
Checkmate.
what?
I need you
3
to
doesn't
explain that
exist
connection.
outside of our mind. Listen, real quick. That didn't even connect. 3 doesn't
Checkmate.
exist
No,
outside of our minds,
Big connection.
but somehow the good and the bad exist inside of our minds. Okay, go ahead.
Both of them are subjective, mind-dependent structures.
As is religion.
How so? How so? Within your worldview, how so?
As is religion.
Well, we agree that 3 it doesn't exist, right? You just did that whole build-up. So 3
The
is
number 3, to answer that, the number 3 is a social construct that does not objectively exist.
right. It's used to describe things that do exist.
We agree that that symbol, that mark on paper, represents a certain amount, but that's contingent upon what we agree on.
And 3 actually exists in reality even more than good and bad does, right? Because whether or not you're looking at it, this is 3 pocket knives, right?
No, it's
Whether-
not. No, it's not. I need you to defend that. You made a claim that adds up to 3. I need you to objectively prove that those are 3 pocket knives and not potato or tree or interstate highway pocket knives.
Right, but I'm not making that claim. What I'm saying is that
You just made the claim, though. You can't make a claim and then say you didn't make the claim, P. Dusty. You made the claim. You said these are 3-dot pocket knives, and I said they're not. And I asked you to support that claim,
You've
and
been
then you said you
scratching
weren't
too many
making the claim.
clitorises. Chill.
I have scratched a lot of clitorises, be honest with you. I mean, I'm not necessarily
All right,
proud of that.
fellas. All right, fellas. Go ahead, Powder Dusty. Dane, allow
seen
Powder
pussy in
Dusty
years,
to
bro.
land his plane. Powder Dusty, land your plane, and Dane, remember, just refute it all afterwards.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay. So 3 is a concept. There's 3 knives there because we've defined what 3 is, and we can recognize that reality fits the definition of 3. There's 3 things there. Similarly, good and bad is what is a trait of a thing. It's not an independent thing. It's used to describe something, and it does not exist without a human there or a mind there to interpret whether something is good or bad. A tree does exist. Go ahead.
All right. So you and I, based on our culture and civilization, our education, you and I would agree that that amount of pocket knives you just held up were equal to 3 pocket knives as far as the value of an amount. Mm-hmm. Right? Do you and I also agree that God exists and what God says is good, and what God says is evil?
If God existed, then sure, that would be true, but I don't believe God exists. And I also...
So would that mean that we don't agree to that? So does that mean we don't agree to that?
Hold on. Real quick, I also want to point out that the way that you just define good and bad is also subjective because it's mind dependent. It's just subjective to God.
I understand that's a cool little story you told, and it'd be terrible for something bad to happen to it. But I'm asking you, would you and I agree, just like we agree that those 3 knives are 3 knives, we agree on that, that we would agree that God exists and what he says is good and what he says is bad.
No, I do not agree.
That's a
okay. Well then your analogy with your 3 pocket knives is a complete non sequitur. It doesn't mean anything to the discussion. Shut up, Smoke Pole. Grown men talking.
Smoke Pole, just let him land a plane real quick.
Grown men talking. Grown men talking.
You next, Smoke Pole. You next.
So P. Dusty, your standard of truth exists within your mind.
Okay. You got some other people back here.
Your standard of truth exists within your mind. Now, I would agree with you that those 3 pocket knives add up to the amount of 3 because you now Cooley moving you around. Now I got to move around. So because you and I agree on that. You agree on that. Shut up, Smoke Pole. I guess you didn't get enough attention in your life, man.
Yo, Smoke Pole, let him land his plane, man. Come on.
So the only way that your analogy would map on to what Cooley and I are arguing is if you and I also agree that God existed. And since it doesn't, you just wasted your time with all of that. So in your mind, what do you ground your sense of reality in your worldview? Because Cooley and I grounded in something outside of our worldview, which is God and Christian ethics. And what do you ground it in outside of your mind?
I think that really at the end of the day, we're all agnostic and we all ground our reality in our own.
Your thoughts, what you think that I ground my ethics in doesn't matter. He's asking
you, how do you ground yours?
Grounded in.
Yes.
What do you ground it in? Don't tell me what I grounded in. What do you ground it in?
We all ground it in our own.
We don't. You can't prescribe what I grounded in, brother. I'm asking you what P. Dusty.
Well, I think he's saying that even if you don't believe that you're grounding it I think he's suggesting that
that's not answering a question though. Radical Coder, you just came in. Just let him answer the question.
I ground reality.
And you up next. Radical Coder. I got you, man. Don't worry.
I ground reality in a combination of my.
I can't hear you, P. Dusty.
Yeah. Let's get some decorum real quick.
Over here.
Go ahead.
I ground my reality.
Powder.
I ground my reality in a combination, primarily in my experiences, but also in logic. Those are the 2 things that God, if you believe in God, gave us to use, the 2 tools we have to understand reality. And those are the 2 I use. I hope those are the 2 you use as well.
Which 2? Tell me again so I can make sure I know what you're saying.
Experience and logic.
Experience and logic. What about data, empirical data?
I mean, I think that I would consider that an experience. You have to experience the data in order to, absorb it. The interpretation of data, then that would be the logic component, right? We have to experience something and then we have to process and understand it. So
when you process it, how do you know that the conclusions that you reach within P. Dusty's mind are accurate? Let me give you an example. My mother was ill for like 7 years, right? She was in and out of ICU and that sort of stuff. And there's a condition, good God, man, a normal cigarette lighter will be fine, man. You ain't got to compensate for a small penis with that blowtorch you pulled up, but okay.
Oh, there it was.
Anyway, so she would be in ICU and she would, there's a condition called ICU psychosis where they'll start to hallucinate. Now, in her mind, she believed the things she hallucinated were 100% real, but they weren't. How does P. Dusty know that the conclusions he reaches based on his logic and data are correct and they're not just P. Dusty's hallucinations or that his conclusions based on and steered by his own biases and wants, needs, and desires?
There's no way for any of us to know that we're not insane. It's possible that we're all
I didn't
brain
ask
splitting.
you about being insane. I'm asking you, how do you
Well,
know
your example
that what
referenced
you
insanity.
arrive at, what the conclusions you arrive at are true, and that they are truly good, and they're not just what you believe to be good based on your own wants, needs, and desires? How do you know that?
Are you asking me if it's possible for me to be mistaken or confused?
No, man, I'm speaking English, man. What kind of language do you speak? How does P. Dusty know
Clicks.
that the conclusions he reaches are true and not just something that he arrived at based on his own wants, needs, and desires?
Yeah. So basically, yes, you're asking, how do I know I'm not mistaken? And the answer to that is, I don't, but none of us do.
Of course we do.
How do you know?
Well, because Cooley and I ascribe to the Christian ethical standard that says basically, in a nutshell, if we boil it down, that it doesn't matter what he and I think or feel, what our wants and needs and desires are, that the ultimate standard is God, so that we strive to reach that standard. And if that pisses us off, hurts our feelings, make people mad, that doesn't matter. That what is good is what is God, so we move towards that.
Right, but isn't it possible? It is possible that you're insane, or that you've got delusions, just like your mom did, or that
it's beyond possible. It's beyond possible.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
likely.
That's what I'm saying. It's that possibility exists for all of us.
Well, and actually that makes the point. This is why we don't appeal to the self. We appeal to the entity that's outside of self, because we're all flawed individuals. So like the thing is, you said that you ground morality in logic and experience. Right. But there's many situations where you can utilize people's logic is flawed, right? Listen, actually, if you can use logic to come to a logical conclusion that it's better to have people starve so I can have all the food. That would make a lot of sense. Like, let's just starve people and keep people in poverty so I can have all the money, all the material goods, and that's a good logical conclusion.
People's logic is flawed. I agree. We've all seen somebody with bad logic.
So then you have to use a standard for morality. You would have to use a standard that's it would always be good or would always be bad. You get what I'm saying?
That desire to set a standard is based on your logic, which could be flawed from the get-go. And also it exports. That doesn't make it so that the logical decision is not subject to people's failings. It just removes it so that it's on someone else's. The people who are giving you the Christian moral system were humans subject to flaws just like we are.
Logic does not equate to morality.
Correct.
P. Dusty.
So how can you use real quick? So you just said correct. So then how you said that it doesn't equate to morality. So then how can you use that standard to justify where do you ground your objective morality? You just defeated your entire argument.
Well, we're using logic to discuss morality.
By what do you mean? You literally we asked you, where do you ground it in? I ground it in logic. You ground your morality in logic, and you ground it in experience.
Correct.
We just demonstrated how you can use logic, right? But logic, you just answered the question. Logic does not map onto what's good and what's bad. It does not. Good and bad does not derive from logic.
So where does it derive from? And let me rephrase it. How do you know what is good and bad, or how are you determining this?
That's the question we're asking you. Okay. Where do you ground it in?
Then I'll tell you. I think morality has a purpose, and it's the purpose of morality is to facilitate a unified functional group. Right? We're social animals. We maximize our chances of survival by working together instead of against each other. And moral behavior is the thing that allows people who are in the in-group, however you define that, to work cooperatively instead of combatively.
Let me test that for you if I can there, P. Dusty.
Oh, and right before you test that, Dane, remember that. Don't lose your train of thought. because I got some questions for him too. And a radical coder, you will engage right after Dane answers that. But let me get to some of the super chats. I got to just do some housekeeping real quick. Everybody that's tuning in, don't be a ninja watcher. Get the likes up for me now. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you already aren't. Click that bell icon. All right, just to get to some of these super chats real quick. And also, if anyone that wants to donate to the channel, please donate to the channel by sending in a super chat, asking any questions that you want to ask. We got JB. Oh, JB is backstage. Okay, JB, I see you back here. You a member. Actually, let me bring you on up. JB, you a member, right? Is
Yes,
JB
sir.
the king?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I got you up here. I seen you. You just sent the message to me. You said, "Love everyone. This is the best panel. Appreciate you, man." We got Dane. Okay, let's see. Okay, we got past that. Rhythm City said, "My guy Dane cooking." This was earlier though. I think that's when you were cooking Sage. We got Rhythm City again. Season 5. That's Cooley. Do you do panels similar to Anton Daniels, Lapeef, where you bring up more than 4 people? Yeah, man, we're doing this now. So Rhythm and City, if you want to come on up, click the link in the YouTube description or the link that's pinned in the comment, and I'll bring you on up. Okay, cool. So let's get ready to rumble, man. Let's get ready to rumble.
Let's get ready to rumble!
All right. So Dane, you wanted to reply to Powder Dusty's statement, and then a radical coder, you're right up next. Go ahead.
Let me get P. Dusty there to repeat what he said, so I'll make sure I understand exactly what he's saying.
Which part? Oh, about the objective of morality?
Yeah.
Okay. We're all social animals. Humans are social animals, and our chances of survival work better if we work together instead of against each other. Now, moral behavior is that which allows the in-group, however you define it, to work harmoniously towards an objective in the external world. Immoral behavior is that which would harm that, to where we have to look at in-group fighting instead of addressing external expansion for the group, right? So it's basically what's good for the group, what's bad for the group.
I'm with you. So if I'm understanding you correctly, if I can still man your position, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds to me like what you're saying is that the group itself decides what is moral and good, based on the benefit to the group itself.
Sort of. That's close enough. Yeah, that's close enough that I won't adjust anything.
Okay. What I was going to test you with here is that, like, prior to the 13th Amendment, the culture, the civilization, the society agreed that chattel slavery was a good and moral thing because it benefited the society. However, I'm assuming I'm extending a lot of benevolence, a lot of grace to you, that you would not agree with that. But in that situation, when chattel slavery was legal, it was accepted. Even slaves that escaped slave states and fled to non-slave states, society had laws in place that those slaves had to be returned to slavery. Now, if it's true what you say, that morality, ethics is derived just from our subjective minds of what's right and wrong, or the subjective mind of the collective, which is a logical fallacy because it's an appeal to the consensus, then I need you to explain to me why chattel slavery was immoral or unethical.
So to me, I believe that it's immoral or unethical because I consider, say, black people to be part of my in-group. I don't consider them outside of the in-group.
Hold up. Now, you said I consider. But a moment ago, you said
about
that
my
morality and ethics was based on the consensus of the group.
Considering.
The we said, now I would have been amongst what you say that I consider, so I would have been on the Underground Railroad myself. And if I knew you better, I could give you stories from my life to support that. But you said that the consensus of the people, all reasonable men agree, which is a fallacy also, agrees to what's moral and ethical because it's all in your mind. And then you resort to the I think.
No.
Okay, then
First of all,
if that
agree is the
isn't
word
real quick, if
consensus.
that isn't true, Powder Dusty, then please demonstrate how if we're strawmanning the argument.
Okay.
If he's strawmanning, demonstrate it.
So what? First of all, you asked me about why I would say that's immoral, and I told you why I would say that's immoral. So I was responding to the question that you gave me. But second of all, regarding the consensus, I didn't say consensus. What I mean is that I don't think everybody in the in group has to even be conscious of their acknowledgement of that position. What I'm saying though is that, and the reason that slavery broke down is because people didn't feel like it was moral anymore. It actually started dividing the in-group. That's why you had abolitionists and people who were pro-slavery, right? That broke down the social structure. The existence of slavery did.
Yeah,
Can
that's
you
not
explain to me
answering
what
the question
consensus
though.
is? What is a consensus? Because a consensus is not everyone agrees. What's a consensus?
Okay. So I'm not talking about consensus. I didn't say consensus. I'm saying what is a behavior that allows an in-group to operate cooperatively towards the external world versus competitively internally. Slavery is a bad example because that forced internal conflict, right? Thus the abolitionist movement.
So here's what you're saying. The collective, as long as it doesn't cause internal conflict, then it is a moral good.
If the action taken, yes, sure, go ahead.
Okay, so amongst the group of people, if the action taken does not cause conflict, then it is a moral good. And conflict would mean that based off the action taken, we agree to it. It would only cause conflict if we don't all agree to it. You got that, right?
No, you don't have to agree. So there's lots of things.
Do we have to agree to it or do we not have to agree to it?
If I go start my car right now, that is not immoral action. It's not immoral either, right? It doesn't involve you. Not every action needs agreement. Not every action.
Yeah, we know that. Destiny. I said Destiny. Powder Dusty. Dang, you sound like Destiny right now. We know that. But what I'm saying, based off of what you're saying that, well, if
morality
humans
has a reason.
Okay, for morality to be objective, here's your standard of proving it. I'm just going to still man the argument. It has to be a wait. What? I'm sorry.
I don't think morality is objective.
I'm sorry. Once again, you think that morality is subjective.
Correct.
That's what you're proving. I'm sorry. I misspoke.
Sure.
This is how you're proving that morality is subjective. It depends on the mind. Got it. So since it depends on, since it's subjective, it depends on the mind. Since it depends on all of these minds, collectively, based off of the collective group, if we all agree on something and it doesn't cause any internal conflict, then whatever the action that is taken that we agree on is morally good. Do I have your argument? Yes or no?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. Now, here's my question.
Okay.
What if we all collectively come together, we all agree on the action, it does not cause any internal conflict, but it causes negative and bad outcomes? Not for the internal people, but for other people. It will cause bad outcomes.
Right. So
bad outcomes maybe for the environment, bad outcomes, maybe for the economy, things like that.
So if the outcome is unintended, then I would not say that it's immoral. But if the outcome, let's use an example. Let's say the five of us agree that we're going to dump all of our pollution in the water, right? Instead of disposing of it properly. I think that would be immoral because all of us recognize, even if we deny it, right? We can deny what's right and wrong and choose to do the bad thing either way. That would still be immoral because we know that we're choosing to do something that causes harm, not just to our in-group, but also at large. We know that it's wrong to do.
Okay. So it only causes harm then based off the collective where it's no internal conflict. The only way that it will be morally wrong if we know that it causes harm. But if we don't know that it doesn't cause any harm, then it's still morally good.
Yeah, I mean it's not morally bad, I would say.
Then it's not morally bad.
Correct.
Okay, well, let me just make this hypothetical.
Yeah, if we make a mistake.
Okay, hypothetically speaking, we think that it's better to put women in breeding camps because we need to increase the population. We are below replacement level. So it's better to put them in breeding camps and basically use women as sex slaves because it would produce better outcomes. There won't be any negative outcomes. It would be better outcomes because it would help out with the population. There's no internal conflict. Everyone agrees on that. Is that morally good to put women in sex camps?
No, because women are part of the in-group.
You are contradicting your entire argument. You just made it. You're not logically consistent.
If I could weigh in here with some real life things.
Hold on, Santa. You're asking me a question about harming.
That's kind of funny.
You're asking me a question about harming somebody that I believe is part of my in-group. Women are part of my in-group, right? So, by my
no. Listen. These women is in another country. They're not part of this nation. They're not part of your nation. They're not part of your in-group.
All women are part of his in-group because he's a woman.
So when you listen, when Powder Dusty, when you speak about in group, are you speaking about all humans?
And that well, maybe, but not necessarily, right? So that's where morality gets subjective and tricky because sometimes you're in group. Let me rephrase this. The amount of in group loyalty that you have to a person depends on a lot of things, right? I owe my daughter a lot more support and love than I owe any of you fucks, for instance. So that's the situation.
Okay, so then the in group would be the nation.
Depends on the scenario. This is the subjective part. When and what are we talking about?
We're speaking about real quick. Let me just finish this part, and then Powder Dusty. I mean, Radical Coder. We want to get him in, and then Dane, you go after. JB is after him. So real quick, I just made a clear scenario based off of your standard of a subjective morality, using your argument against you. I literally added everything you said in. It didn't produce any negative outcomes for the in group. It produced positive outcomes for the in group because it would increase your population. So under your worldview, if you're staying logically consistent, you would have to say that putting women from other nations, getting women from other nations and putting them in sex camps, birth camps, is a morally good thing. This is why your worldview is evil.
False. That's a mischaracterization.
That is false. That is right.
Under my worldview, that would be wrong behavior because any society, hold on.
You all agreed to it.
I'm not done yet. Any society that will just completely dismiss people's autonomy and rights and turn them into sex slaves is not one where we can internally trust each other. It's one where we constantly are looking over each other's back internally to make sure that we're not the next ones in the cages getting butt fucked. I guess it would be vagina fucked.
Hey, coach, he's moving the goalpost. I can't score. I'm trying to get a bucket, coach, but he keeps moving a goalpost. Where did I move it to?
Here's the goalpost. He's
moving a goalpost. He's adding in extra stuff, coach. What's going on?
Like that's what you were when you started being like they're from another country and stuff.
Holding women in cages to be sex slaves does not create more trust between people, does it? That's
okay. Real quick. Once again, by using your logic, you just said that if it doesn't cause any internal conflict in the in group, I asked you, is the in group all of
internal conflict?
You're just saying that it will cause internal conflict, but if it is not of your nation, that's what I said. What do you consider the in group? Is it all humanity, all the humans on the planet, or is it? You explain it. Well, I would treat my daughter much differently than I treat you dorks on the stream. Okay, I agree. I got daughters too. I would definitely treat my daughter and my family much differently than I treat y'all. So when you're speaking about this in group, you're speaking about some social cohesion, right? Some unity, like a nation. So if it doesn't cause any conflict within this nation, you're not harming anyone within this nation, right? You're not harming anyone. It doesn't cause any conflict. And everyone agrees on this. And it produces better outcome. It doesn't produce a negative outcome. It actually produces better outcome by increasing the population level. Now you're shaking your head, bro, because under your standard, everything that you said, I used it against you, and in that doing that you would have to justify. I'm telling you, you basically justify locking women in sex camps, bro.
So hold on.
Under your logic,
you're saying that that in your world, if we kidnap, say, all the women in Asia and put them in made them sex slaves, you think that would be better off for you?
No, that's what you believe.
No. I think that would be worse off for us, because I think that if we have systematic abuse of human rights, as we understand them, as I understand them, that will cause a whole lot more issues internally in America, even if it's other countries' women.
Now what you're doing is,
let me finish. Even if it's other countries' women, it will be harmful internally to us, the ones doing the thing. Do you deny that?
The ones, okay, got it. So therefore, now you're adding in this. Listen, under your world. So listen, I'm going to make another hypothetical.
You're not going to answer.
We're going to add this in. Look, we got three things. Now you just added in the fourth thing. This question isn't. I don't believe in subjective morality, bro. I believe in objective morality. I don't appeal to the things that's in my mind to determine what is the good and the bad. I appeal to God, divine command, the thing that's outside of my mind. So you can't ask me a question that I'm asking you to do an internal critique, Powder Dusty.
Well, you did the math wrong. You did the math wrong on whether or not that would be good for society.
You're moving things in now. So now we're going to add it together. And then Radical Coder, you're up next. Let's add it all in. And please, Powder Dusty, correct me when I'm wrong.
I'm trying to.
We spoke about a lot. Well, I'm going to reiterate your standard for subjective morality and how you determine what's morally good and what's morally bad. Mm-hmm. And correct me, because I want to make sure everything is in there. So, okay. So one of the ways how you determine what's good and what's bad under your standard of subjective morality, collectively, people in the in group has to come together, and this would be people under your nation, right? Things that you have commonalities with, and there's some social cohesion there. If there's no internal conflict, so that's one thing, the group collectively. 2, there's no internal conflict. 3, it doesn't produce negative outcomes, it produces positive outcomes. And 4th, the last one you added, can you repeat that?
I didn't add a 4th one.
You just added the 4th one so I couldn't make my shot.
What I'm saying is that I had a clear-cut standard. I had a clear-cut objective moral behavior.
You just said that. Listen, I'll repeat it.
No, I'll repeat it. You're going to repeat my moral position.
The 4th thing you said was how you moved the goalpost. You said, well, then this would cause harm. It was harm was the 4th thing. You said it would cause harm to the people in the in group because it's not good for to do that to women. That's basically what you said.
Let me explain this to you.
Okay,
again.
Repeat the 4th one again.
I'm gonna go back to the very beginning.
No. Repeat the 4th. Powder Dusty, we ain't got that much time. I want to hear Radical Coder.
There's not the 4th one.
I do too. I'm dying to hear Radical Coder. You know, he's a young guy. He doesn't look completely stupid.
And then JB up next, right after Radical Coder. Repeat the 4th one again so I can insert it.
I can't repeat it.